Welcome to another lab session of PL-300. This will be our third lab session. In this lab session, we will see how to design a data model in Power BI. Okay. So let us get started. So we have already downloaded the zip file, and I've already opened this model data zip PBIX file. Okay. So let us go ahead and see what this lab has to offer. So first and foremost, we have to get into the report view, and it is telling us to expand the data pane and to create a table visual in the data pane. So let's create a table visual. Okay. And let's expand this table visual. And it is telling us to go to the product table, okay, and select and check the category field. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's put the category here. Okay, and to add another column to the table in the data pane, select the sales/sales field. So let's go to the sales and let me drag this sales here. Okay, so let me expand this. Let me go to the format visual. Let me go to the values and let me increase this size 28. And let me collapse this. Let me go to the column headers and let's make this 26. Okay. So now you can see that this is what the table has given us. So category, sum of sales, and if you just look at it, the value that is coming over here is the equal to the total value. Okay, so it has not applied the filter with respect to the category. And the reason why it has not done so, because there is no relationship that has been established between the product table and the sales table. Okay, so let us go ahead and establish that relationship. This is exactly what is mentioned over here. So it is telling us to go ahead and establish a relationship. So we go to the model view, okay, and in the model view, what we will do is go to the manage relationship. Let's create a new relationship. From which table? From the product table, and the table which we have to map it to create a relationship is the sales table. And you will see that automatically the product key has been mapped. Okay, and if you look at the cardinality, okay, it is one to many. And the reason why it's one to many, because the product key in the product table is a primary key, so it contains all the unique values, but product key is a foreign key in the sales table, and this product key basically is not a unique value in sales table. Okay, it can contain more than one values, okay, for the same row. Okay, so this is like one to many. Make sure that this is checked, make this relationship active. Let's click on save, and you will see that this relationship is established. This is active. And if you just go ahead and see, then let me drag this down, and you will see that there is a relationship which is established between the sales table and the product table. Okay, and if you want me to go ahead and click on this particular relationship here, you will see that exactly that field will be highlighted from product key to product key. Let me bring it closer. From product key to product key. Now every time you do not need to go ahead and click on manage relationships. Okay, what you can do is you can simply drag and drop the fields in which you have to map. Okay, so for example here it is telling us to create an additional relationships. Okay, where it is suggesting us to drag and drop the field. Okay, so how we are going to do it? You see, it is telling us to create a new relationship using a different technique from the reseller table. Okay, so this is the reseller table. Drag the reseller key column onto the reseller key column of the sales table. Okay, so we have this reseller. Okay, we have this reseller. Let me expand this. This is actually a disadvantage of the lab. It just collapses the entire window. Okay, that's why it becomes a little difficult. Let me collapse this one. Okay, So in the reseller, this is the reseller key. Okay, so I will drag this and I will drop it, drag it, and I will drop it to this reseller key, reseller key to reseller key. Now you can see the same value is present for all the rows, so that's why this becomes many, and this is the this is actually one. Okay, because reseller key will be unique to the reseller table. Okay, so this is also cardinality one to many. Okay, so you can just see, if I go ahead and hover on this, you will see that this is mapped. Okay, so you can do it like this. Similarly, we have to do it for the sales territory key to sales territory key. So in the region, okay, so in the region we have this, the sales territory key. Let's drag this and let's drop it here, the sales territory key. You will see this is mapped. Again, this cardinality will be one to many. Let's click on save. Okay, and this is salesperson employee key to sales employee key. So this is salesperson is here. Okay, let me go ahead and drag it here. Let the region be here. Okay, so salesperson employee key to sales employee key. So the employee key is here, so let's drag this and drop it here. Okay, and let's click on save. Same as one to many. Okay, so this has been established, and now see, if now that the relationship has been established between the product table and the sales table, if I go back to the report view, you will see that now it is going to be filtered on the basis of the category. Go to the report view and you will see that this has been filtered. If there is no relationship, then it will not be filtered. Okay, so that is what it is telling us. Save the Power BI desktop file. Okay, so simply just click on save, and let's save it. That's it. Okay, so now it is telling us to go ahead and configure the product table within the hierarchy and display folder. Okay, so let's go to the model view. Let's go to the data. Okay, so this is the product table, and in the product table it is telling us to create a hierarchy. Okay, so how do we create a hierarchy? You see, I've already, let me delete this one. Let's create a hierarchy from scratch. Okay, so how we do it? To create a hierarchy in the data pane, right click on the category column. Okay, so you see, this is the category column. If I go ahead and if I right click on this, it will say create hierarchy. Okay, after I create this hierarchy, let me double click on this and let me rename this to products. Okay, now after I rename this to product, I want the subcategory to be added to this hierarchy and the product to be added to this hierarchy. So subcategory is going to be the second line of my hierarchy. This is going to be added to the hierarchy products. So it is added, and this product is also going to be added to this hierarchy. Okay, if I click on this, you will find that we have the category, subcategory, and product which is added. Category is the first line of filter, first line of hierarchy, subcategory is the second hierarchy, and product is the third hierarchy. That means within the category we have the subcategory, within the subcategory we have the various products. That's it. Okay, and we just simply apply the changes. This is done, and we can see this. Okay, now another thing which it is telling us to do is to go ahead and group this background color format and the font color format. Okay, and place them into the same folder. So let me click on this, press Ctrl, click on this. Okay, and then in the properties you go, and then in the display folders you just have to type the name. It is suggesting us to type the name as formatting. Let's go ahead and do it. and you will see that both these columns will be placed under the same folder, that is formatting. Okay, and it is telling us display folders are a great way to organize tables, especially for tables that comprise many fields. They are logical presentation only. Fine. Okay, let's go to the region, your region table with the hierarchy. So in the region table, create a hierarchy named regions with the following three levels: group, country, and region. Okay, so let's collapse this product. Let's open the region. Okay, and here it is telling us to create a regions hierarchy. So first is group. So let's click on the group. Let's click on hierarchy. Okay, and here it is regions. Okay, here it is regions. Next we have to add the country. So let's click on this three dots, add to the hierarchy, that is regions. It will add it, and then group, then country, and then the region finally, of course. Let's click on the region. Let's add it to hierarchy, regions. Okay, let me okay, so now if I go ahead and open this regions, right, you will see that we have the group, we have the country, and we have the region. Okay, all in the same. Okay, let me put it down. It is select the country column, not the country hierarchy. Okay, this is done. And what it is telling us, to select the country column. Okay, so let us select the country column. Okay, and what we have to do is we have to categorize it. Okay, so we just go ahead, select the advanced, and then there will be this data category, and we select this by country / region. So what this will do, that it will help Power BI to identify this as a country column. Okay, and it will help Power BI to give accurate information to map the visualization. Okay, so in case of when we have map visualization, okay, we can easily go ahead and spot it on the map or map it to the map, right, to the map visualization on what the countries are. So it's better to use the country / region data category in this particular case. Okay, and this symbol will appear, this globe symbol will appear. Okay, now let's configure the reseller table. Okay, and it is telling us that let's create a hierarchy with these two levels, business type and reseller type, and create a second hierarchy named geography with the 4 levels. Okay, and then set the data category for the following columns not within the hierarchy to country, region to country / region. So let's do this one. Okay, so let's go to the reseller. Okay, and let's click on the business type, create hierarchy. Okay, and let's double click this. Let's rename this as resellers. Okay, and in this we will place the reseller as the second level, add to the hierarchy resellers. Let's create a second hierarchy that is named geography, country / region, it is there. So let's click on this, create hierarchy. Okay, and let's double click this. Let's name this as geography. Okay, and within this let's select the state province, add it to this hierarchy, geography. Then we have the city, add it to this hierarchy, that is geography. And then again we have reseller, add it to this hierarchy, that is geography. So you can just see that one column. Okay, this is the point to remember, that one column can be used in multiple hierarchies. Okay, and we need to set the data category for the following columns. Okay, so country, region. Okay, this data category, let's go to the advanced, and this will be country, this one, country slash region. Okay, then we have the state, province. State, province over here, the data category will be state or province. And then we have the city. So city data category will be city. Okay. So we have the city. Okay. So you see all three of them have been categorized. Now let's go to the sales table. Let's collapse this. Let's go to the sales table. In the sales table, select the cost column. In the properties pane, in the description box, enter based on standard cost. Okay, select the quantity column. In the properties pane, from inside the formatting section, slide the 1000 separator property to yes. Select the unit. So it is talking about the formatting. Okay, we need to format because sales column contains many numerical values, so we need to format them accordingly. Okay, so we need to format the cost, and okay, only the cost, I guess. Okay, so let us go ahead and do it. In the sales term, select the cost column. So this is the cost column. Okay, and this is the properties pane. In the description box, enter based on standard cost. Okay, so let's type this based on standard cost. Okay, then it is telling us to select the quantity column. Okay, let's select the quantity column, and in the properties pane, from inside the formatting section, slide the 1000 separator property to yes. Okay, so this one is 1000 separator quantity. Select the unit price column. Where is the unit price? Okay, this is the unit price column. In the properties pane, let's set the decimal places property to 2. Okay, so let us increase this to 1 and 2. Okay. And in the advanced group, you may need to scroll it down to locate it. In the summarize by drop down list, select average. Okay, so summarize by, okay, it will be average. Okay, so what this simply is going to do, this summation which you are looking at, right, by default it will give you the sum of the unit price. Okay, the sum of the sales, the sum of quantities, everything. But if you do it summarize by average, it will now by default give, for unit price column, it will give the average of the unit price. Okay, and that's what it is mentioned. And let's go to the bulk update. In this task, you will update the multiple columns using a single bulk update. You will use this approach to hide columns and format column values. So from the model view data pane, select the product/product key column. Okay, so let us go to the product column. Okay, and from the product, we have the product key column. While pressing the control key, select the following 13 columns. Okay, let me collapse these columns. Okay, it is telling us reseller, region slash sales territory key. Okay, so from region, we have the sales territory key. Okay, then from reseller, we have this reseller key. Okay, from sales, we have the employee key, we have the product key, we have the reseller key, we have the sales order number, we have the sales territory key. From the salesperson, we have the employee ID, the employee key, we have the UPN, and from salesperson region, Okay, let me go ahead and we have the employee key, the sales territory key, and from the targets we have the employee ID. Okay, and in the property pane, okay, we have this is hidden. Select this to yes. So what this will do, all the columns simultaneously they will be hidden. So hidden means that once you go to the report view, right, you will not be able to see these columns in the report view, in the data pane of the report view. Okay, because they have been set to hidden. Okay. So these are hidden because they are used in relationships, or they have been or they can be hidden for security reasons. Okay, so that's what it's mentioned. You will use the sales order number in a calculation in the create DAX calculation in Power BI desktop lab. Okay, so multi-select the following three columns, that is product standard cost, and sales. In the properties pane, from inside the formatting section, select the decimal place property to 0. Okay, so let us select those columns. In the product, let's select the standard cost. Okay, then we have the sales, we have this cost, and we have the sales. Okay, and now we select the decimal places, this value to 0. Okay, so that means we are now going to show it in a proper whole number. We are not showing it in any kind of floating values. Okay, and in this task you will switch to report view, review the data model interface, and configure the auto date time setting. So we switch to the report view. Okay, and you will notice the column, the hierarchies and their levels. So obviously we see state, province, state, geography hierarchy, reseller hierarchy, and all the columns that we had hidden, they are not showing here. Okay, it's not showing here. The employee, if you just look at it, the employee key columns, everything is now gone. Targets, employee key column, everything is not showing. Okay, because it's hidden. Okay, so that's what it is giving us. Expand the sales / order date field. So let's expand this, and then notice that it reveals a date hierarchy. The target / target month field delivers a similar hierarchy. Okay, so this hierarchy and this hierarchy, both of them, they are delivering the same hierarchy. So it is saying that these hierarchies were not created by you, they were created automatically as a default setting. There's a problem, however. The adventure work financial year commences on July 1 of each year. But in these automatically created date hierarchies, the date hierarchy commences on January 1st of each year. Okay, so we need to configure this. Okay, we want that it should not start from January 1st of each year. Okay, so what we will do, we will simply change this date hierarchy to a normal hierarchy. Okay, it will not be showing this hierarchy anymore. Okay, so how to do it? To turn off the auto date time setting, navigate to file. Okay, let's go to the file, let's go to the options and settings, let's go to the options. Okay, and from the current file section, let's go to the data load. Okay, and let's go to the time intelligence and uncheck this auto date time. So now what it will do, it will no longer it will automatically detect the date time and create a hierarchy. Okay, it will remove the hierarchy. You will see now if I click on OK. Now if I click on OK, you will see that this target month is no longer there. See, the hierarchy is gone. So in the quick measure window, in the calculation drop down list, from inside the mathematical operation group, select subtraction. Okay. So this is another task that has been given to us in the quick measure window. Okay, so this is the quick measures window. In the calculations drop down, okay, let's click on this. Okay, and what we need to select is subtraction. So let's go ahead and select subtraction. Okay, and it is telling us that in the data pane of the quick measures window, expand the sales table. Okay, let's collapse this visualization and let's expand the sales table. Okay, it is expanded. Drag the sales field to the base value. Okay, so we need to calculate the cost, the profit. Basically this is the profit, sales minus cost. Okay, and click on add. Where it has added. Okay, wait, not this one. We need to delete this from the model. Let's select the sales table. Okay, and within the sales table you go ahead and create this go to the sales table and create this quick measure from here. It was added to the product table, which is not correct. Let's go ahead, click on subtraction. Let's click on the sales. Let's go down and select the cost. And now let's click on add. See, now it is added here. Okay, so to rename this, we need to rename this to profit. So let's double click on this and let's select and let's type profit. Okay, so in the sales field, add a second quick measure based on the following requirement. Use the division mathematical operation, set the numerator to sales/profit field, denominator to sales/sales field, and we need to calculate the profit margin. Okay, so let us select the sales table again. Okay, and let's click on quick measure again. Okay, and here we will select division. And inside the division, what we will do, we will set the numerator to the sales/profit field. Okay, so numerator will be this and denominator will be the sales field. So this will give us the sales, the profit margin basically. Click on add. This is going to give us the profit margin. Okay, ensure that the profit margin measure is selected, and then on the measures tool contextual ribbon, select the format to percentage with 2 decimal places. Okay, so let's select this one. Okay, and here in the format section, let's go ahead and let's change this to percentage, and let's increase the decimal to 2. Okay, now to test the 2 measures, first select the table visual. In the data pane, select the 2 measures and select and drag the right guide to widen the table visual. Okay, so what we need to do, let's collapse this one. Okay, here I've already created this table on basis of category and sum of sales. Okay, and now I need to just drag this profit where is that? It's a little slow. So let us just go down here. Okay, and let us drag this profit and place it here, and let's drag the profit margin and place it here. Okay, and now let's collapse this. Let's bring it out here. Yeah. Okay, now you can see that this table has been created which is similar to this. Okay, and we can verify these results. Okay, now in the next task this is telling us to create a many to many relationship. So you will create a many to many relationship between the salesperson table and the sales table. Okay, so we have the salesperson table, and in the salesperson table, in the report view, in the data pane, check the follow two fields to create a new table visual. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do that. Okay, let us create one more table. Let's create one more table. Let's drag it here. Okay, and let us select the salesperson. Salesperson. Okay, and let us select the sales. Is the sales. Okay, sales is here. It is the sales. Okay, so let me just use the values and increase this to 28 for better visualization. Okay, so if you can see that this is the salesperson and its respective sales. So how much sales has every salesperson done, that calculation is given over here. Okay, so it's the same as what is represented in this table. Okay, and if I go here and if I sort this on the basis of, you can always click on sort by and click on the sum of sales. You will see it will sort it, and you will see that Linda Michelle has the highest sales as a salesperson. Okay. So it is saying that notice that Michael has sold almost $9 million. Okay, Michael Bith over here. Switch to the model view, then drag the salesperson region table to position it between the region and the salesperson table. So let's go to the model view. Okay, and it is telling us that to drag the salesperson region. Okay, so this is the salesperson region, and position it between region and salesperson. Okay, so let us go ahead. This is the region and this is the salesperson. Okay, and now it is saying that use the drag and drop technique to create the following two model relationship: salesperson employee key to salesperson region employee key. So salesperson employee key to this employee key, the salesperson region. So this is one relationship. You see, it is employee key and this is employee key. So both of them, if you just see, none of them possess the this is the salesperson employee key. So this is one too many, it will be the cardinality, because salesperson has unique your key. So let's go ahead and save this one. and in the region it will be sales territory key to salesperson region sales territory key. So let's go ahead and let's drag and drop this one, and let's check the cardinality. It is one to many again, so let's go ahead and select this. So this is like a bridging table. Switch to the report view and then notice that the visual hasn't updated. The sales result of MIGA hasn't changed. Switch back to model view and then follow the relationship filter direction arrowhead from salesperson table. Consider that salesperson table filters the sales table. It also filters the salesperson region table, but it doesn't continue by propagating filter to the region table. The arrowhead is pointing in the wrong direction. So if you look at the arrowhead, right, arrowhead is from salesperson to your sales table, right, salesperson to sales table over here. And if you look at this is also from one to many, but here the arrow is from region to salesperson region. It is showing that this is not the correct arrow. Okay, it is pointing to the wrong direction. So what we need to do is we have to switch back to the model view and then follow the relationship filter direction from the salesperson table. Okay. To edit the relationship between the region and the salesperson region table, double click the relationship. Okay, let's click on this. And it is telling us to select the cross filter direction drop down list to both. So right now it's single. Let's select this as both and let's click on save. Okay, and after that we need to notice that the relationship has a double arrowhead, which it is. Switch to notice report view and then notice that the sales values still have not changed. Okay, so it will not change, of course. Okay. You just see this still for Michael Breath it is 9. Let's go to the model view. The issue now relates to the fact that there are two possible filter propagation paths between salesperson and sales table. This ambiguity is internally resolved based on at least a number of tables assessment. To be clear, you shouldn't design models with this type of ambiguity. The issue will be addressed in later part of this lab and by the completion of the create DAX calculation in Power BI desktop lab. Okay. So switch to model view to force filter propagation by bridging table. Edit, that is double click the relationship between salesperson and sales table. In the edit relationship window, uncheck the make this relationship active checkbox and then select OK. So between salesperson and sales table, okay, this one, salesperson and sales table, okay, this one. Let's double click this one and let's make the relationship inactive. Let's go down and let's uncheck this and let's click on save. So now the filter propagation will only follow an active path. Okay, in the diagram if you notice that this has been replaced by a dashed line, which it is. Okay, if I zoom it in, you will see this is the dashed line. Switch to the report view and then notice that the sales for MIGA are now nearly $22 million. If I go ahead and Michael Blythe is $22 million nearly, that is correct. So notice also that the sales for each salesperson if added would exceed the table total. It's a common observation of a many to many relationship due to the double, triple, etc. counting of region sales result. Consider Brian Vreckler, the second salesperson listed. His sales amount equals the total sales amount. That is correct. It's the correct result due to the fact that he's the director of the sales. His sales are measured by the sales of all the regions. While the many to many relationship is now working, it's now not possible to analyze sales made by a salesperson because the relationship is inactive. You will be able to reactivate this relationship when you introduce a calculated table that will allow analyzing the sales made in the sales region assigned to the salesperson for performance analysis in the create DAX calculation in Power BI desktop lab. Okay. So let's switch to the model view, and then in the diagram select the salesperson table. Okay, let's go to this. Let's go to the salesperson table. In the properties pane, in the name box, replace the text with salesperson performance. Okay, so in the name box, let's, this table is there, salesperson, and let's select this as performance. Okay, now let us relate the targets table. Okay, let's go create a relationship from the salesperson performance employee ID and the targets employee ID column. Okay, so let us go ahead. This is the target, salesperson's performance employee ID. So this to this. Okay, now there is a, in the report view, add target / target field to the, okay, let's click on save. Now it is saying in the reports view, add the target / target field to the table visual. There is no target field. Let me go to the model view again. There is this target amount. Okay, so that is what the target field is. So let us go ahead and drag it into the values. This is the table, and let us drag it and drop it here. Sorry, not the, I dragged the targets month, I guess. Okay, so let's drag this target amount and let's place it here. It becomes a little difficult to add. Okay, let us remove this one, we don't need this. This table we don't need, and this table we drag it here. Yes, now if you can just see that it is giving us the same value from the targets field. That's it. So that's it, guys. That was the entire lab. Okay, I hope we have enjoyed this lab sessions, and sorry for the inconvenience because the lab provides me a very short window. Okay, and it's also a little slow. Okay, but obviously we learned a lot of different things from this lab. Okay, and I can assure you that if somebody completes the entire lab session, okay, of this entire video series, you will get a good grasp in Power BI. Okay, and overall Power BI concept you will get a good grasp in. Okay, it's, you see, you will realize that Power BI is not just about DAX or about queries. Okay, it's about everything. Okay, we need to go ahead and understand and analyze every single portion. Okay, making relationships, how to make the relationship active, everything should be approached in a systematic manner. Okay, so I hope you really enjoyed this session. If you did, then please don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel, and please don't forget to press the bell icon for notification. Thank you.